Hello, friends and followers. Here's some notes on this second Paragon that I bought from eBay. So my assumption was that this Paragon would be easy to fix because it had a face lock loop unlocked message on the display. I had spent probably 3 or 4 days fixing this Paragon over here because it had a phase lock loop problem. Its problem was people were into the phase lock loop boards dialing around all the slugs, and maybe the board had a bad solder joint. So this radio had similar problems, and the way that I approached it was I took the major loop board and the minor loop board and I installed those over in this working radio, and I was able to get lock on those boards. Maybe not great lock on the minor loop board, but I was able to get lock in that radio. So then I knew that these boards then were fine, at least they'll work, and I put them back in the second Paragon. However, there is a mystery involved, and that is that the software that comes with these radios is stored in an EEPROM, and you have no idea what that software really is. I guess you can ask it what version it is, but haven't done that yet. The software goes in this 2764 erasable PROM. So the software that I got with this second Paragon, you would think it would be the same software or close. So when I take this software out, this card can be removed, and I put the card in this first Paragon with all the known good phase lock loop boards, minor and major. I can't get any lock at all. So there is some difference in how the software treats the phase lock loop in the various renditions of the software. And so I did glue all these, I nail polished all the settings in that radio for the phase lock loop. And I think if the software ever got changed in there, it would cause it to go out of unlock, and cause it to go into an unlock mode. But I suppose I have no plans to change the software in that radio. It could even get sold in the future, so who knows. But I thought that was worth noting, that the software itself causes the phase lock loops to act differently, which it should, I suppose. At any rate, so in trying to get this radio to work, I've never got the second Paragon to receive or do anything meaningful. I found that I can get the phase lock loop to the signal, at least, even though the phase lock loop isn't working. I can pull off this connector and get the phase lock loop signal to quit interfering with the display. So what else is wrong with this radio? I think there's something up with the motherboard here. And that is because when this thing is turned on and I rotate the VFO counterclockwise, the frequency goes down as it should. When I rotate the VFO clockwise, the frequency goes down. And so I also find that when I press any digits here, the band should change. It does not change. This radio acts like it's receiving interrupts into the microprocessor from some other chip here that's starving it for attention from other meaningful signals. Like when these keys are pressed, there's a matrix that will cross 2 wires, and then this chip will notice that it's been crossed, and the processor will notice how. So I've been going through the motherboard here, and I think in my case, this chip is malfunctioning. So here's the interrupt request. So anyway, when this comes off of the rotary encoder, which is the main knob here. And so I'm thinking that this chip plays a big part in how this works. And so I'm thinking that if it's malfunctioning, that's gonna cause me some grief. So at any rate, I guess the easiest thing to do was to order that chip, and I did. ordered 2 of those, and I'll wait for them to come in, which will take a week, but who's in a hurry around here? So yeah, the keyboard comes in through here, and well, that's interesting. Since the keyboard isn't working, I didn't really note this chip. This one's soldered in, and it goes in through here, goes out through that connector there, I suppose. What a mess. So I'll replace this chip since it's socketed and see what it does. I've already replaced the microprocessor, which didn't make any difference, and I didn't think it would, but let's see, where is this chip here? 14682. 14682. It has F, and what are these plugs called? It's got 3 of them. At any rate, this thing has been harder than I thought to fix now. So I gotta replace, okay, here it is. Yeah, this chip here. Pull that out, replace it, see if that'll make a difference. The other route would be to buy a motherboard if I could find one. These tend to go for a bunch of money, $200 or something when people sell them, because scalpers get a hold of these things and scrap the radios and just mark everything up to the moon. So depends who scraps. I guess most people scrap a radio are knowledgeable of the parts. Anyway, how much is a Paragon worth working? Not that much. $500, $600, maybe if it's perfect, it's $800. This one has the RS-232 card in it and the voice card. I've never seen the voice card, so that's pretty cool. This one was actually loaded from the factory, which surprised the crap out of me. But so I'd like to get it working. We'll see how that goes. Let's turn it over. So the bottom of this thing, it has all the filters in it. I don't think it's lacking any. Yeah, it's not lacking. So this thing has every filter that came with the rig. 1, 2, okay, this filter's default. So 1, 2, 3, 4 filters there. Yeah, it's got all 4. So this thing ought to be a great CW rig if I ever get it working. So that's the story here. It's going to be fun to get it working. Just a matter of, can I get the motherboard figured out or whatever's wrong with this thing? I thought maybe the keyboard was shorted out, but no, it's working. I've compared it with this keyboard over here, and it seems fine. So I was about to take all this stuff apart last night, and I thought, oh, don't do that. The whole front of this thing will flip down, and you can get access to all the cabling. I think it's all right. I think the problem with this right now is on the motherboard. And there's also a trick you can do with a transistor radio. You can put a transistor radio by the rig and listen to the keys to see what they're doing. So I'll show you how that works. So here's a radio here. And this transceiver is running. This one is the one, this is Paragon number 1 that works fine. And I can tell the CPU cycle sound is a lot lower than the non-working Paragon. So you can put the radio on AM here. Put it down by the processor here. Now, you can hear the real-time clock ticking. Tick, 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 tick. That's the interrupt from this board for the actual 1 second pulse keeping time. And that would go to the display right there. Now you can tell that when I do anything here, there's going to be some noise with the code changing. When the software changes, it changes the RF output in the processor. So case in point, and then when I try to put a frequency in, it's acknowledging a button press. And I don't get this on the other radio at all. It doesn't acknowledge anything. So I'm thinking the motherboard's whacked. Some chips on there are bad. So at any rate, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, you can use a little radio to debug a transceiver. At least an old one like this that you're trying to fix. So that's what I've been doing today a bit. And I don't like having all this junk taken apart all over the room. So I'm trying to at least get this one together as far as I can and then wait for parts to come in for it. I've also been working on this little or big radio here. This one, again, is a National NC-300. It's the earlier radio from the 303. And so I've been casually working on this one. Been trying to clean it up a little bit. It does come clean if you scrub it a bit, so I've been kind of just casually scrubbing it. The antenna trimmer got damaged here, so I kind of got it straightened out so it turns again. And now I want to go under here and fix the mess. So yeah, somebody made a real mess here with all these capacitors, so gonna chop all these out. And I have some new capacitors from communist China that I'm gonna put in here that are a lot smaller. So take these out, put in these and neaten it up. I bought a power cord for it because someone chopped the power cord, but I don't really have the proper grommet to get it in there. So anyway, one step at a time. Just take some time and fix this radio too. And that's it. There's too many radios in this house now, so I think this is going to be the final fixing. And if somebody buys some of these, that's fine. Get the house cleared out. I guess I could spend time today getting these out of here. These old paper ones, I can start taking them out. Getting this radio ready to go. This thing should fire up. It has a band switch problem. I don't really want to go into this mechanism here, but I think it's jammed or needs oil or something. I don't know. Gotta get in there. So these big ones take some time. They're easier to fix because they're simpler, but they're also a lot of mechanics in these things. So, but that's the fun part of it. You really want to have something with knobs, and like this 303 over here. This thing works great. I kind of wanted to get the predecessor to the 303, which is that 300 over there on the floor, just because this one works really well. And I thought, well, what's the predecessor like? So it was all curiosity. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day.